Ray Castellanich, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Russ. It's good to be here.
Ray Castellanich is a multi-generational ET abductee survivor. Ray witnessed his first encounter with an alien as a child in 1959. He still keeps in contact with what he calls the Fab Four. To learn more about my guest, visit his website UFOparanormalandmore.com. Ray, the Fab Four certainly aren't the Beatles, so what are they?
Well, they're Serpo Greys from the planet Serpo. They talk telepathic. They're real friendly. The Nordiques, usually his wife's in the meeting too. They're from another dimension. They look exactly like her. You could put a T-shirt and a pair of jeans. You wouldn't know the difference. The only way you're going to tell a difference from a Nordique is their eyes don't blink. The most popular one, the Elephant Man George from the 13th and 14th dimension. In my very first encounter in 1959, 12 years old, met a little 3-inch humanoid guys from the 5th and 7th dimension. They live in the trees on the underground on the planet. The majority of these ET star people are masters of the underground. They have 2 suns on their planets, but they're not in the sun like we are. And I'll kind of stop there and let you ask me anything, and then I'll just rattle on.
The 3-inch humanoid, what did you discuss with the alien? How did the encounter begin? How do you recall those events?
1959, I grew up in a town called Dogtown. I was 12 years old. And every Saturday morning, my dad had a 4-family flat, and I would go across the street, and it'd be a clear day. And we had, back in my time, everything was built good. We had these giant, enormous street lights, these little black indentations. It was all gold. And I had these little pebbles because I used to love to hear the ping off the light, and I had 2 big boulders to break it. And as I was throwing the little pebbles out of the corner of my eye, it was coming up from Manchester to Tam, the street I live on, this metallic ball, a little bit bigger than a basketball, didn't make any sound. We didn't have remote control back then. And came over my head about 30 feet. Little kid, 12 years old. I picked up one of the big boulders. I stepped back to throw, and that's when I saw these little windows with these little tiny figures. And I dropped the rock, and then they hit me with a beam of light. And there was like a parking lot, a small one, in this first house. It went over the house, down, and shot straight up and disappeared. I was out there for about 45 minutes. But anyway, I ran into the house, and my mom was cooking breakfast. My dad was sitting in the seat, and he had this pad he would always draw and write on. And I started drawing what I'm seeing. And my dad jumped up, and he said all kinds of big words I didn't know what he was talking about. He said, "Where'd you see this?" And I said, outside in the front, across the street. Before I could say any more, my dad flew out the front door. My mom followed. This was the only time my mother was in the picture on this. So when I got him back in the house, my mom went back to cooking breakfast. My dad told me to sit down and tell him everything that happened. And I said, if I tell you everything and the reason I was out here, you're not going to kick my ass, because I was trying to break the light. So he kind of laughed at that. My dad was 8th grade. He was 8th grade education. And he knew he wasn't alone no more. I didn't realize that evening we're going to go meet E.T. And what he did first is he went grocery shopping. He bought more of my mom than E.T. We got all the groceries, 2 loaves of bread, and then we went. And then giant saucers on the ground waiting, and our car pulls up and it dies. And these 6 Serpo Greys are heading towards the car. And they can talk telepathic, and told us to get out of the car and follow them, because I had 2 side to side with me, and my dad had 4. We're walking up to this ramp inside to this room, and they put me in one room and my dad in one room. I'm 12 years old, I'm crying and screaming, I'm on this metal bed, and they're scraping me and taking semen out of me, and I know they're doing the same thing to my dad. When I looked up at the ceiling, I saw this yellow blanket come down on me, and the only thing was free was my head and my feet. It was a sticky type blanket. I was trying to push my arms through it. I figured my dad was going through the same thing. So then they put us both in this room, this enormous room, with these colored chairs we were sitting in. And I noticed this fiber optic, some kind of cable wire going all the way around the saucer, and these real vines. And these 7 Serpo Grays had these handprints into their console, like one would raise the craft and whatever else, the other handprints, each one would have something to do with the craft. And we had black and white TV back then. We didn't have color TV. And this color TV come floating in the air right in front of me, my dad. It showed Hitler, showed all the wars we had, and our beautiful planet totally on fire. I'm 12 years old, so my dad's trying to ask some questions. And what it boiled down to was an education for us to figure out what these 3 pictures meant. And as the leader was talking to my dad, I noticed this one Serpo Gray that was real close. And he picked up this vine and he stuck it in the side of his hand. That's when I nudged my dad and I said, Dad, he's feeding himself. Those little things we would pick up. So when they were done with us, we're walking out of the craft. And to let your audience know, we're in T-shirts and jeans. We're not in astronaut suits. These people were coming from other galaxies, timelines, everything. They're carrying radiation on the outside of the craft, germs, and magnetic field. So when we came out, we had the Serpo Grays behind us, and me and my dad bent over immediately. Our noses were bleeding so bad. It wasn't even hitting the ground, Russell. It was going from one nostril to the next. It was like a chain necklace of blood is what it was. And we're hitting ourselves in the chest because when I looked over at my dad, I thought we were going to die right there. So when our noses stopped bleeding, they're walking us to the car. And we get in the car and we watch them walk, get in the craft and take off. And that's when I turned around. I saw everything was there but the 2 loaves of bread. And that's when I grabbed my dad by the arm and I said, Daddy, they took everything, but they didn't take the groceries, but they took 2 loaves of bread. So the car started and we went back to the Ford family. We would go in the backyard and talk. And that's when I told my dad, next time we see the star people, we bring bread. Well, my dad laughed. Second time we went to meet him, he took 5 loaves of bread. Third time we went to meet him, he took 7. That was the magic number. My dad didn't laugh no more. It was a peace offering. And we're talking 3 generations here. My late grandfather in Yugoslavia, my dad and me. This was all planned out. We were chosen people. My grandfather was a lumberjack in Yugoslavia. And my grandmother would give him 5 sandwiches. He'd have his coffee. He'd sit on this stump, eat his lunch. And out of these woods came this 12-inch dwarf in all colored clothes. And he would sit down by my grandfather. My grandfather would give him a sandwich. So the bread actually really started with my grandfather. And they would talk. And the reason this little 12-inch dwarf E.T. was there, he was telling my grandfather that one of your sons, which was my dad, one of your grandsons, which was me, would meet many star people for information. And we never know what the craft was going to look like or who was going to be inside, you know. And I'll give you one incident when we went to meet these one-eyed Cyclops people. They're in a giant egg-shaped craft. It's just most beautiful orange at night, because this is the wee hours in the morning when we go, which there's usually a lot of people sleeping. But anyway, we go, a car dies, and we're walking towards the craft, and this ramp comes down. We walk into this room. It's kind of lit up. We're in a circle type thing. We're in the center. And here's these 8 to 10 foot tall, one-eyed Cyclops creatures. That's what they're called. They're from the 4th dimension. And they have like 6 toes. They have a web hand with 5 fingers and one giant big eye, they're real hairy. We thought that these guys were going to rip us apart and kill us, you know, and I, 12 years old, I didn't realize, but the leader at that time, his name was Zuda. He had picked me up with one hand, and I'm kicking and screaming and crying. I thought he was going to eat me. And when he got me up to his eye, I felt the warmth and the love. It was unbelievable. I stopped kicking, crying that quick. And he put me down. I walked over to my dad. And that's when we heard the magic words. We are your friends. We're not here to harm you. We're here for information. And the majority of the information, other than the 4 bad ones, was that we were destroying the planet. And then we went back to the Circle Grays when they brought out that color TV. And the education was Hitler, bad man, all the wars, stop the wars, and our beautiful planet total that fire. Because my dad had asked him at that time, did we have war with you guys? Did the sun fall? Somebody pushed a button, you know. It was an education for us to figure out and what we needed to do with this planet. Because if we didn't turn everything around, we wouldn't be here. Now, all these people are watchers and protectors of this planet. They've been coming to our planet for millions and billions of years. It's been the greatest education. You don't have to go to school for this. And I met a total of 34, 30 good, 4 bad. And my Fab 4 have been with me for over 55 years. They come on my TV. My TV's off. And I'll see the head of the Elephant Man George, the head of the Nardik, and this beautiful green mist color behind them. And they'll be talking our language. And they'll give me coordinates, like line 70W, which is Highway 70 West. Because we got quite a few highways in St. Louis. And it'd be a wee hours in the morning. I'd have to go meet them. And I'll give you one of the codes was when we see a giant craft, blink its lights twice, the next exit was ours. And then as we're coming down the road, a lot of times they'd be 50 to 100 feet off the ground. And we'd go underneath and they would beam us up, Scotty, and this door would open and they would be in there, up there waiting for us to pull us in. We'd go into the room. There's a table. It's on my website, and I have my own YouTube channel that I'll have the meetings in, and you'll see that. And behind them is like this big screen. When it opens, it's bigger than a drive-in theater screen. And they'd be showing past, present, future videos. And they were showing one that was up to date. They were showing downtown St. Louis. St. Louis is where I'm from. We have the arch. It's a giant arch. And all these tall buildings, and we got the Mississippi River. And he was showing me that it was broad daylight. I saw a fire truck, ambulance, and the river was rising, and the streets were sinking, and people were jumping out of the buildings, and buildings were falling, and the bridges were falling. And the Nardik looked at me. They call me Raymond. That's my ET name. My name's Ray Raymond. This is real. This will happen, but we won't intervene. This is the kind of power these people have, and they're here to protect us. We're in the 21st century, humans. This should have happened a long time ago. It's our time to evolve from third-dimensional beings to a fourth and fifth crystallized being pretty soon. And planet Earth will be a bigger and more beautiful planet, to be a crystallized planet for us to live on. Anybody wants to stay third-dimensional the way it is now will not be on this planet. It will be on a... They found 2 planets the size of Jupiter that us humans could live on, third-dimensional, with other ETs. And we're not the only ones going through this rush. Other ETs are going through the same thing. It all started with the alignment of the planets and the shifts, and for what's going to take place as we move forward. Everything that happens out in the cosmos is what's happened down here on planet Earth. it triggers the earthquakes and everything that we go through. I know a lot of people are concerned about Planet X. Planet X and Planet 9 are the same thing. When I was on my Fab Force craft, they were showing me lots.
Just what about Nibiru?
Okay, Nibiru is, it actually orbits Jupiter and Mars. Right now, that's not even in the picture. I got a friend by the name of Robert Evans. Go to his website. He's like the Carl Sagan of Nibiru. This guy's really smart. But Planet X is where the Kuiper Belt is, and the planet Neptune. You'll see a white light. What was amazing, what he showed me was, because they were close, was two giant motherships, one in the front, one in the back, with the scout ships all around Planet X. So they're really keeping an eye on this planet. And if it did get close to Earth, you know, they would divert this. This planet has motors on it. There's 10 to 12 different ETs on Planet X. So I want everybody to be aware of that. This is what I got from my guys. But there's so much going on as we move forward. There was 3 major years. 2015 is the amazing year. The one we're in, 2016, is the silent year. And the major year is 2017. Even though 2016 is supposed to be the silent year, there's going to be a lot of things happening as we move forward. Matter of fact, there's 2 major months, July and September. There's star travelers and light workers. I always use wearing this human skin suit. We're all ETs. Eventually, when I was talking to my friend Chris in Panama, George would come across our microphones, and he's talking telepathic, because he's coming through timelines and our timelines, and then he'll go back to our timeline to see how things are working and everything's set the way it's supposed to be. But these people had an agreement 1,000 years ago, and where they're at today, to return to their starseed planets for new assignments, and a lot of them will come back to planet Earth. And I had a meeting about 3 meetings ago, and I reversed everything on my Fab 4. They had their regular meeting, and it was done. They were getting ready to take me back, and I go, we're not going to go back yet. I want to have a meeting with you guys. And George the Elephant Man kind of knew what was going to happen, because they can read your mind. The other ones were kind of shocked when I said it. I've been your voice for over 55 years. It's time for you guys to back me up. I don't care who it is that you send down here on planet Earth. Let the people, not just the United States, but globally, see that these people are real. And I gave a date of 2018, January 1st. If nothing happens, I'm done. And that's the way I left it. And I was talking to Chris, my friend, him on Skype, and Georgie come in telepathically. And he's saying, Raymond, we've been your friends for a long time, and we're going to take care of you and your people. We're talking to the great ones, so I guess that's who they have to go to, who's ever going to come down here. It won't scare anybody and be the right one. But to let your audience know, it's going to be many. And the reason that I'm saying this, every single person on this planet will have their own starseed mentor. Because when you go into the 4th, you're probably going to be 4-8. And the reason I say that, there's other bad ETs in the 4th, but they can't handle that high frequency in 4-8. So they can't touch you. It's just the way I get it from them, my guys. And, everybody bugs me about taking pictures. They don't care if we take pictures of the outside of the craft. When contact comes and happens, everybody will hug these people, take pictures, go on crafts for rides, whatever, other planets. All this is going to happen. We're going to be learning new technology. We're going to be working side by side with these people. When we actually go into the fourth dimension, we're going to be using teleportation, but we're going to be using it before then in September, the way they're going to do this. It's going to be a mass landing, but it'll be close because it's the way they have this set up in an area. They know the majority of the people that have already been warned. Some people, ET will come into their home. I got two friends that I know personally that will be going, but their mentor will meet them in their homes, and then they'll go from there and how they're going to take the people off the planet.
Have you seen the Twilight Zone episode To Serve Man?
I've seen Twilight episodes, but I don't recall that one now.
The point is, could it possibly be that the aliens are not as benevolent as they're making themselves out to be?
No, they are. I'm at 30. And here's the reason why. For me to explain this to you, you'd have to be involved. It's the most unbelievable, lavish feeling and energy that you are just on cloud nine like you wouldn't believe. Now, the bad ones can make themselves look exactly like you, Russ, and me, and them. They cannot perform the energy and the unbelievable love that these good ETs have. You're going to feel the negative energy right away. You're not going with them people. That's the difference. You know, everybody, here's the other thing you got to understand. I say it in my meetings all the time. We're human beings, and we think the human way. That's the way it is. And everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Until you really get involved with these people. And when you do, and everybody will, everybody's going to meet my 30 good ones. They're not going to be 4 bad ones. But, and other ETs that George has brought, it's such a humongous process of what they have to do with the chemtrails, the CERNs, the HARPs, the vortex over there by John Edmonds Ranch, that all these bad ETs are coming in and out. They have underground bases. They're working with our military, giving them alien technology to do what they want to do. There's actually wars in the skies over there now. George has ETs over there taking care of that and closing that vortex as we speak. These people have a lot of things to do. There's underground bases down here. There's ETs walking amongst us. When the time comes, they know what they're supposed to do. They're here for us. They're going to make sure we make it. It's our time to evolve. But here's the whole thing. I want everybody to go globally. It ain't going to happen. The reason it ain't going to happen, Russ, it's not a perfect world out there. It's not a perfect world down here. You got people that are ready to go. You got people that don't give a shit. And you got people that have no idea what the hell's going on. Them are the people we're trying to save. Turn them around. Everybody has an opportunity to go. There will be no negativity on the new crystallized planet Earth. There will be no wars, no disease, no poverty. Everybody will want for nothing. You won't have a house payment. You won't have a bill of any kind. This should have happened a long time ago. But the people running this show, you know who they are. When the reptilians came here, they put our frequency down so low. They're third dimensional too. And we couldn't evolve. We had a lot of things erased from us. And I can remember when I was a little boy growing up, we were lied to about a lot of things. I had my human life. I still got my other life with ET still going on to this day. I'm a young 68. It started with me 12 years old. You know, I went to my people 8 months ago.
Just to pause you there. This started when you were 12 years old. I was curious earlier in the interview, and I just didn't want to cut you off.
Yeah, it's okay.
Had this been a secret in your home, and it wasn't until then that you'd heard anything about it? And the follow-up on that would be, did your mother know?
No, my mother, my brother, and sister to this day, my late mother, I got a brother that's alive and sister, to this day doesn't know me or my late father and grandfather's life. And the reason I say that at a 12-year-old kid, my dad scared the hell out of me. Because he told me, if you ever tell your mother, brother, or sister, the guys in the white jackets come out, we'll never see your brother, sister, your mother ever again. That scared the hell out of me. And to this day, I've kept the word. And neither my brother or sister know our life. This was all set up. This was planned. We were chosen people, 3 generations. We didn't ask for this shit. The only reason I'm saying it that way is I went to my father many a time as a little kid saying, Daddy, we're nobody. We're not the President of the United States. Why are the star people picking on us? That was the first thing came out of my mouth was star people. That's what they are. E.T. They hate the word aliens, the good ones. But you see all these movies that are made. You go back into the 30s and 40s. There was abductees back then. And the movies that was like the Mole People, a few other creatures they were showing, are real. For everything that we were told that was a myth is real. Everything. And people are going to find this out. You know, this has been a great education for me and my late father. I'm sure my grandfather. There was times when I was 6, 7 years old, when my grandfather was in St. Louis talking about just the little people. Because he'd be in the woods, eating his sandwich, singing with them, talking to them by the stream. And he had 4 kids. And he would drink this bottle of Old Crow because the other 3 kids thought the old man was nuts, you know. But my dad knew he was telling the truth. My dad was implanted at 5 years old. If I had any missing time, it's from the time I was born to 11 years old. The time from 12 years old to 68, I'm a contactee, and my dad was with me because he only met half of them. We never had any missing time. We always knew what was said, what was going on. An abductee has missing time. And there's a lot of horror stories with abductees. I got a few friends that I know, you know, what happened to them. It was pretty terrific. Them are the bad ETs. For the benefit for their stuff and their planets, for hybrids, half human and alien kids.
Ray, we're almost out of time for today. Would you like to come back in a couple of days and get into a breakdown of all the different species?
Sure. Yeah, I got all my drawings here with me, and anything you want to do, Russ, I'm here for you.
Before we call it a show, let's do some of the audience's questions. One of the audience members says that you're copying this shit from the Brazilian UFO investigator Jefferson de Souza. Souza wrote Blue Planet Project and Pulsar Project that laid out all of these aliens with the drawings.
This is all real. I don't know what this person's talking about that. I don't know anything about that. These people are real, and everybody will see. And there's actually people meeting the monk people, the orange people, the one-eyed giant people, cyclops people, the frog people on the north side of Mars. That's where it snows. And that's my frog people. They have a lot to do with underground soil, and they live underneath the mountains. They're down here on our planet. I'm a straight shooter. Even though I'm Catholic, I don't bullshit. I have 2 people that can't be a witness that are no longer with me. I can't draw. Jeannie Blankenship gets credit or signatures on all these drawings. She drew these people down to the T. I never forgot these people. Even the 4 ones that everybody participated in this. Okay? We never knew what the craft looked like or what the hell they looked like. And that person's entitled to say whatever he or she just said. I know nothing about this. This is real. It's not make-believe. I'm out here for 2 late people and the people on this planet. I'm not out here for fame and fortune. And that's the way it is. So that's all I can say to that.
Another audience member, Xena, says the Andromedans predicted extreme weather in March and April of this year. Not sure where he or she gets this information, but no extreme weather yet. Is this because the ETs are protecting us from harm? Do you know anything about this extreme weather?
Yes, they are. But as we move forward, everything's moving fast. The shifts, the crust on this planet going one way, the shifts the other. The North Pole has moved 60 miles. We're going to have unbelievable weather changes. Not just what we have for as tornadoes and the average 5.0 earthquakes. You're going to have some big earthquakes. You got two super volcanoes, I think it's in the Pacific and one in the Atlantic. And when them go off, there's going to be a lot of things happening. When we get to the point where we can't be on this planet, no human, when that frequency hits, when Mother Earth spits out her 3D core like never before, to become a crystallized planet, everybody will be off this planet. That much I know. This is a huge process that these people... George has brought in billions of ETs from inner and outer galaxies all over. ETs that I never met. I don't even know what they look like. They're all here for us to make sure we make it. It's our time to evolve as humans. It should have happened a long time ago, but through the changes and the people, the bad people that were controlling this planet, that's why it never happened. And I can understand why everybody comes to planet Earth. It's the most beautiful planet out there. I've seen planet Earth 4 times. Once with my late father, 3 times by myself. And planet Earth is round. It's not flat. I can guarantee you that.
Quick follow-up from Xena. Do people need to meditate in order to increase their vibration to match or to ascend into these higher dimensions? Or will it just happen on their own?
It'll happen both ways, on their own and meditate. When you meditate, you're opening up your own Stargate portal. And the love that you have and the goodness you have in a person, you're going to go. You got any negativity whatsoever, you ain't going to go. Walk an old lady across the street, do something good. Anybody that kills and steals, and the people running this show, they know who they are. The game's over. They ain't going nowhere. It's the end of the game for them, and they know that. There's going to be a lot of things happening, and a lot of arrests and major people that we've heard of. There'll be a lot of things happening as we move forward. And people will start seeing and feeling the light rumbles on this planet as the process works itself out. These people are watchers and protectors of this planet, and they're going to take care of us. I've been in this for 55 years. I'm not the only contactee, okay? Alex Collar's telling the truth, never met him. Atlanta Kapuckney, Peter Slattery. A lot of starseed contactees are going to pop up globally. Okay? They're all going to help bring us together. This is part of the process as we move forward. And I understand everybody is entitled to their own opinions, their questions. I'm not here to play God. I'm just here to give information from them. And that's what I do. I do it at my meetings. I do it on these talk shows. I've done many. I've done a lot with Dr. Sam Muggsy. This is the first one I've done with you, Russell, and I'll do more as we move along. But I'm here to tell you the truth.
Well, tell me truthfully, Ray, why do the aliens enjoy bread? Is it some sort of peace offering?
It is, because...
I'm pretty sure they can make their own bread, right?
Well, the technology they got, they can do anything. What it is about I've taken different loaves of bread to these people. The only one that ever changed the menu on me were the Nardis, because they love our donuts. But in Christ's times, on Mount Sinai, I think it was, when he gave out the bread and the fish, 20,000, to feed all them people. My grandfather started with him with the sandwiches. I give my grandfather, my late father, the credit for the bread. When we went grocery shopping, everything was there but the 2 loaves of bread. When we go meet, and now it's me, but when I go meet them, I always take 7 loaves of bread, put it on the hood of the car. I'll be walking with my guys. I'll turn within 2-3 minutes. They already got the bread on their planet. The giant bird people, I took them bird seed, I took them sunflower seed, and I even took them bread. They took all 3. Even the bad ones, they took the bread. All these people participated in this situation as we started. It was all planned out. We didn't ask for this shit. I've got the greatest education ever. I don't go to school for this. Everybody down here is going to get educated. Everybody's going to go to their own star seed planet. We just play a game and say you're Octarian, Russell. That's your major star seed. But you have relations, okay, other star seed, ETs. But you're going to find out your past lives, what was taken away from you. You're going to find each individual. These people, they're the most friendliest people you'd ever want to meet. And the thing that they lack the most is the technology that they have is emotions, other than the Vulcans. And I get my guys laughing. They don't feel the laughter, the emotion of that. Same way for sadness. And the only ones who were close enough to emotional people were the Vulcans. The hospitality, the way they treated me. And the reason I stayed there, because I wasn't ready for it. I was sitting there, and he looked at me, and he goes, Raymond, are you thirsty? And I said, yeah. I said, we have your water, we have your coffee. Make a long story short. And then he asked me if I was hungry. We have your pizza. And I really wasn't hungry. I had to go to the bathroom. So all 3 of them took me down to this room with the sliding door, and there was this weird-looking commode. I went in there. But I thought I was screwed, Russell. There was no toilet paper. And all of a sudden, this beautiful mist just took over everything. When I stood up, kind of towards the wall, it turned into a mirror, then the door opened, and they're out there laughing, smiling at me. That's when I looked at the leader, and I said, can I take this home? I can make millions. He said, you and your people are going to be doing this pretty soon. But it's the way they treat you. We all grew up with Star Trek. Me and my dad used to laugh.
Yeah, but in Star Trek, the Vulcans lacked emotion.
Oh, no. What I'm getting at is, me and my dad laughed, because Star Trek, we're always going to see them. They were coming to see me and my dad. And that's what we would laugh at. I understand what you just said. That's the point I was trying to come across with. But these Vulcans are unreal. Most friendliest people you ever want to meet. But when it comes to war, the one-eyed psych, all these people, all these drawings, I'm glad they're on our side.
Ray, we're out of time. We got to call it a show, but you'll be back in a couple of days, and we'll get even deeper into this. Extremely interesting, very entertaining. This is not an ending, but a beginning. But for today, Ray, thank you very much for being a guest on the program.
Thank you, Russell.